All right, so today we're going to talk about the product and quotient rule. Here's our essential question. What does the product and quotient rule say in your own words? Go ahead and write the date down. We're going to get started and we're going to do a quick review. And remember, we have to be able to expand exponents. Go ahead and write this down. And we're going to have to condense exponents. Go ahead and write that down. We're going to expand and condense exponents. So let me make this neater. So remember, expanding exponents, that's when I give you something like x to the fifth, and that equals, remember, we're multiplying x by itself 5 times. That's expanding it. Condensing would be me giving you a times a times a, and us seeing, well, a times a, that's the same as a to the third power. Good, so write those examples down. Expanding exponents and then condensing exponents. That's what those look like. Now, what we're going to do today is, you can draw a little line to kind of organize your notes. We're going to look at what's called the product rule first. Product rule. Go ahead and write that on the side. Product rule. And so what we should notice first is that it's called product rule, and product has to do with multiplying. So we're going to look at multiplying different numbers that have exponents. So let's say we have x to the third times by x to the fourth. Go ahead and write that down. Let's call this number 1. X to the third times by x to the fourth. And so what we're going to do is we're going to discover a shortcut. But in order to discover the shortcut, we're going to have to do the long cut first. So let's do that. So x to the third, we can break that down, expand it out, and that's x times x times x. And then we're also going to expand out the x to the fourth, and that is x times x times x times x. There's 4 x's there. And remember, we're multiplying these. I'll bring that timesing down. So I went from x to the third times x to the fourth. And after I expand it all out, we have to count how many x's I have, because now once I expand it, now I'm going to condense this whole thing now. So I expanded first here. Once I expand it, now I'm going to condense it back into an exponent. So I have all the same base. They're all x's, so my base is x. And I just have to count how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 x's, so my answer is x to the third times x to the fourth equals x to the 7th power. So go ahead and write that down. Go ahead and write that down. And some of you guys see a shortcut. If you see a shortcut, go ahead and write it down. If you don't see a shortcut, take a look at how we could have gone from just the problem without expanding and doing all this work. How could I have gone from just the problem to the answer? What's the shortcut? Would have been a faster way to write that. Good, and we see the shortcut is when we are multiplying numbers with the same base. Notice they have the same base. They're both base x. When we are multiplying numbers with the same base, we do what to their exponents? We are going to 3 plus 4 is 7. We add the exponents. When we are multiplying numbers with the same base, we add the exponents. That's the product rule. So instead of us having to do all this extra work, expand it all out, and then recondense it down for the answer, product rule says I can do it quickly if I can just add up the exponents if and only if I have the same base. So let's try another one. A to the 5th times by a squared. Now, this looks like 1a, but it's actually 5 a's being multiplied together. This looks like only 2 a's, but this is 2 a's being multiplied together. So together, 5a's and 2a's, that makes a total of, add those together, 5 plus 2, a to the 7th power. That's the product rule. Simply put, that's the product rule. Let's go ahead and try some examples on the whiteboard. Go ahead and take out the whiteboards, get a marker, and we're going to put some problems up on the screen here, and then go ahead and answer them on your whiteboards. All right, first one, here we go. Let's do x to the 4th times by x to the 6th. Go ahead and write that down. Get your answer, put on your whiteboards. Good, and the answer is x to the 10th. Nice job, nice job. All right, a new one here. Let's do x to the 3rd times by x, a trick question here. Go ahead and try this one. Good. Now, here's an important thing to remember. X by itself, every number, every variable has an exponent. If we don't see it, it's an invisible 1. So this is not still x to the 3rd. This is actually x to the 4th. And we see this, if we were to expand it out, this is 3 x's, this is 1 x, and so total there are 4 x's, x to the 4th. Good, one more. Let's do a to the 6th, a squared. Go ahead and solve this one. Add them up and give me your answer. Good, the answer here is a to the 6 plus invisible 1 plus 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, a to the 9th. Good. All right, you can put the whiteboards back. We will come back to those in a moment. Back up to your notes. So that's the product rule. Product rule is just adding the exponents. Go ahead and make another line here. We're going to put another little section in our notes. Now we're going to talk about the quotient rule. Go ahead and write that down. Quotient rule. Quotient rule. Go ahead and write that down on the right-hand side. And as a reminder, quotient rule, remember, is about division. Now, some people think division is a little bit harder. Some people think it's the same. Something is a little bit easier. It's personal preference. But division, what division also includes everybody's favorite F word, fractions. Now, don't be scared about fractions. So here we go, number 3. Let's do x to the 6th over x to the 4th. X to the 6th over x to the 4th. Going to write that down. And just like before, we're going to expand it out. So let's expand it. This numerator, x to the 6th, that means I have 6 x's. The denominator of 4 says I have 4 x's on the bottom. So go ahead and write those out. Now those are expanded. Now we aren't multiplying these numbers like the product rule. We're quotient, we're dividing these numbers. So if we look here, every time we have an x over x, x divided by x, that equals a 1. So this turns into a big 1. This turns into a big 1. These two turn into a big 1. These two turn into a big 1. Can I cancel out any more? I can't cancel out any more because there's no more x's here on the bottom. So they turned into a 1, but 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is still 1. And 1 times x is still just x. So they kind of, in essence, they cancel out. So they're all gone. Canceled out, canceled out, canceled out, canceled out. All we're left with is x to the 2nd power on top. X to the 2nd power on top. So now look at my exponents here. How did I go from 6 and a 4 over here to x squared? Because 6 plus 4 is 10, so I know I'm not adding. What did I do? What's the shortcut with the quotient rule? What's the shortcut with the quotient rule? Good, so the shortcut with the quotient rule says if we are dividing numbers with the same base we subtract the exponents. So product rule we add, quotient rule we subtract. Go ahead and write those down. All right, go ahead and take out your whiteboards again. We're going to practice some problems here. So go ahead and take out your whiteboards. We'll practice some quotient rule ones. All right. So here's your first problem. Start off with an easy one. X to the fifth over x to the third. Good. Go ahead and give me the answer. Give you 20 seconds. Give me the answer. This is quotient rule, so I just subtract them and I get 5 squared. Good. All right, next one. A little bit harder one. X to the 7th over the 7. X to the 6th. X to the 7th over x to the 6th. Good. Go ahead and give me your answer there. Great. Quotient rule says to subtract them. So I get x to the 1, but I wouldn't write x to the 1 because it's implied. So the way I would write x to the 1 is just an x. So just an x. When you write an x, it's implied that there's a 1 there. So there's no need to write it. All right, let's go ahead and let's do one more. Challenge 1, a to the 4th over a to the 4th over a. Go ahead and give me your answers here. Good. So this is a to the 3rd, because remember, there's an invisible 1 here, and 4 minus 1 is 3. Good. Going to put your whiteboards away. We'll wrap up notes by answering the reflection question, which says, what does the product rule and quotient rule say in your own words? So the product rule says blank, and the quotient rule says blank. Good. Go ahead and fill in those blanks. What does the quotient rule say? What does the product rule say? Put it in your own words. We'll go over some answers here at the end. And those are our notes for today.